Hey everybody, welcome in, it's Nova here. Welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since we've explored Frostpunk and done some stuff with it. I had some other ideas in mind, they kinda ended up on the back burner for a little while. We're gonna come back to a new home and revisit it, but this time we're gonna be doing a bit of a early game strategy guide and general walkthrough. I'll be showing you guys my technique for everything. Of course, there are multiple ways you can approach just about anything in this game. This is my opinion on how I like to do it. So, first off, before I do anything else, I will pass the emergency shifts law. Not because of what the law is, but because of the law that comes after it. And immediately after that, assign everyone to the wood, steel, and coal piles around the generator. Get things going there. And I'll also be going over some general tips throughout the video here. This is one of them. This segment right here. For certain quests throughout the game, if you're able to prepare in advance before they come up, you can kind of get a free bonus. In this case, we have not built shelter yet for anybody. So I'm going to tell them I'm going to provide shelter for everyone. And proceed to do just that. Another tip for the first few days of the game is to only turn the generator on at night. Saves you a lot of coal in the early game. You can turn it off again at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which would be now, approximately. And then by this time you can pass the next law. The next thing I like to do is extended shifts and create 14-hour workdays everywhere that it is possible to do so. Your people are going to complain about this a lot, but you can get a lot more done enacting this. Alright, so the next thing is, now you're seeing we've got some sick people down there. We need a couple of medical posts, so we're gonna make those. And we're gonna staff them with some of our engineers once they are done harvesting this wood pile. Once you've got that, you want to go for the cookhouse next, kind of get that plopped down there. And this will sound very specific, but once you do that, make 12 road segments. Yes, I know that's a very specific number, but trust me. I'll show you why. I arrange my city in a pretty specific way when I'm playing this. Alright, so we're getting those medical posts built up. The wood crates are also depleted. Let's keep them going. Alright. Yep, and then there's the generator prompt. Turn it back on for the night. Okay, we're doing pretty well so far. Now we can also build the first workshop. Get that going right away. And immediately research the beacon. You want to start scouting in this game as quickly as you can, because there are many resources outside of the city for you to be able to gather with your scouts. Alright, so once the law timer resets, I like to go for sustained life.
Hear me. New law in the city.
Alright, we're doing good so far. Yeah, we're doing well.
Time to earn your bread.
Do. Just letting that group finish up. Alright, add them. to the coal pile, get these guys to make food, because now we're getting hungry, so we gotta make some rations. Alright, the beacon is done. I would strongly recommend building it right away. And again, I know this is probably gonna look weird and oddly specific, but put it here, right at the end. As we develop the city, you'll see why I have this particular build pattern. And once you've got the beacon, I'd recommend the sawmill next. Alright, let's get them back on the steelworks. Oh, I had the generator on all day. Oh well. I mean, it's not a huge deal if you leave the generator on, it's just you're gonna run out of coal a little bit faster. Alright, now we're gonna get the care house. Law. Alright, we can make a scouting party. Gonna need to grab 5 people. I would normally grab them out of the cookhouse, but they haven't used all of the raw food yet, so I'm gonna make them do that before I pull them out. While we're talking about the sawmill, this is another oddly specific thing. But you want to build 7 road segments there. And again, I'll show you guys why I do that. Alright, almost all the meals are cooked. Scouts are at the first area. Always escort this group of survivors back. Otherwise, some of them will die on the way back to the city. Alright, once the care house is available, go ahead and make that. And here's the thing with the sawmill. Much like the beacon, if you hold the sawmill here and let it snap right there, you have a very good positioning to basically only need 1 sawmill for most of the game, which is pretty nuts. Alright, once you've got the sawmill, go for the steelworks. Yeah, you want to get your resources going as quickly as possible, because things can get very hectic very fast. Hey, and there's our convoy. And never let your scouts sit for too long without doing something. They should always be on the move somewhere. Okay. Now at this point we gotta make some shelter for our new friends. Our new survivors. So let's go make them some housing. Yeah, we're off to a good start. And once you get on with that, you want to make the next 2 workshops, because in that first cluster of people, we got some engineers, and they are the ones that do the research for the city. Alright, we've got some housing. Looking good there. They won't be able to work until the workshops are connected to the generator, though, but we're gonna be able to establish that pretty shortly, as soon as the day comes back. Alright, now we've got the steelworks available for construction. So we're looking pretty good there. Alright, that coal pile is empty. That steel pile is empty. Alright. So now we're going to place down the steelworks once we get enough wood to build it. Got the scouts at the sturdy shelter. Gonna have them keep going to the steel bridge. And once you've got all of those, once you've got the beacon, the sawmill, and the steelworks, I would recommend Hunter's Gear. And now that this is available, I would recommend the cemetery, because people will be happier with a cemetery than just a snow pit to bury any dead people. And we're gonna build that right away just so we have it available. Hopefully we won't need it, but at the very least, we'll be good to go. Alright, so that is the gist of the early game for A New Home. We're just gonna keep chugging along here. Nice, we got the cemetery, we're looking good.
Is ending.
Alright, we are doing pretty well here. I want to show you guys what I was up to during that little intermission period. In the law book, I didn't really change much, except I did get ceremonial funerals, which halves the loss of hope caused by people dying, and prosthetics. So basically, if it gets too cold and people's limbs get amputated, they will need a prosthetic limb in order to return to work. The tech tree has changed significantly. I've gotten the steam and advanced buildings here. I've got the sawmill range extension. I'll show you guys what that looks like. I've basically fully invested in housing, maxed out my food production potential, gotten the infirmary, so I've got excellent health care now. And I'm working on the coal mine. That is also personal preference. You can do whatever you wish. You can use the coal thumpers if you want.
The work shift starts.
Before your last coal pile is depleted, you'll want to have your primary coal production source ready. So I'm gonna make this first coal mine and just have it sitting there for when I actually need it. And then I'm gonna get the 2 efficiency upgrades for it right away. And the people are gonna, like I said, the people are gonna complain about the extended shifts a lot, but you just kind of have to ignore them. Alright, we are doing well. Let's get the second upgrade.
Work day ends.
After this is done, we can focus on heating power. That can be delayed for a pretty significant chunk of the game, because the temperature doesn't drop to a significant level for quite a bit. So you've got plenty of time to do basic development like this. Alright. New day.
Bundle up. It's getting cold.
It is day 15 now.
The work shift starts.
Oh. Who's that? Who's that guy? He flopped over in the snow. Alright, so this is the main scripted event in the A New Home scenario. This guy, if you don't find Winterhome before this point, there's a guy that comes up to you, he's like, you're doomed, you're gonna die, all that, and then he flops over and dies. And so now, your people realize they are the only people left. This is the only city that exists. So now there's a significant turmoil happening in the city. And you'll notice that the hope bar is basically going down to practically 0. So this is a big split in the game. Now you have to give your people some kind of purpose before anarchy completely takes over. You can either choose order and discipline or faith and spiritual strength. I prefer to go with faith because I find that it gets rid of the group faster. They call themselves the Londoners.
Law has passed.
So we're going to make the 2 houses of prayer that the game is requiring us to build. I'm going to explore Winterhome. Yep, dead bodies everywhere. Riots, anarchy, starvation. And there are 2 steam cores here that we can grab. And I will take those back to the city because we need those for lots of stuff. Alright, now that we've got coal mining rationalization done, we can start working on our generator's heating ability. Yep, the unconvinced people want to leave. They're gonna leave in 15 days. Yeah. Gonna calm down, we're not gonna die. And yeah, there's a big issue now. So this is the tracker down here for the Londoners. The tendency will either increase or decrease, depending on where your hope is. So your goal now, regardless of which path you took, is to bring people's hope up as high as you can to minimize the damage caused by the Londoners. Alright, now we're going to go for efficiency. I'm not going to use that steam level setting yet because we don't need it, and it creates a lot of excess coal consumption. So this is another one of those things where you can kind of get a freebie here. After the Londoners event starts, there's a bit of a lull in the weather changes. So it's really, really easy to get a free, successful quest for warmer housing. So we're going to take a look here. I need to make 11 homes livable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Alright, we've got enough resources to do it for everybody, which is good. And we've got the Rebirth of Faith at the House of Prayer. Alright. And we're going to get both efficiency upgrades back to back for the generator. So just a heads up there, I'm going to do it pretty quick. Wanted to let you guys know what I was doing, though. And the Londoners are gaining more followers because hope is still pretty low. Alright, efficiency level 2. No! Keep working, guys. Come on. We're in a frozen wasteland. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Alright, we've maxed out efficiency. We're gonna start looking at range. I would go for range first over power, but if you're having a power issue, then by all means, go for power first. Usually range is better, and then power. Alright, now in the logbook, if you do decide to go the faith route, I would strongly advise going for the temple as quickly as you can.
Hear me. New law in the
That is a very powerful building that passively makes the Londoners abandon their cause, and it has some special abilities that we can use to raise the hope of the city. So we're going to build that as soon as we can. Yeah, the Londoners are still gaining followers. There hasn't been a lot of opportunities to bring hope up yet. Alright, we're gonna keep the range minimized, because we don't need the bigger range yet. Oh, that last coal pile is out. So now I've got to get my coal mine functioning. And we will need to get tier 5 in the tech tree to unlock the last level of the range as well as power. Let's keep sending our scouts around the map here. Gather as many resources as we can to help our city survive.
Put down your tools.
And try to quell the Londoners as quickly as we can. We've got about 9 hours left until we can pass the temple and get it built for that big boost. And the tendency has 3 red up arrows and 3 blue down arrows that correspond to an increase and the decrease, respectively, in the Londoner count. It was at 2 red up arrows, but now it's only at 1. So we are doing better. Alright, let's go for range level 3 just so we are prepared for when we need it. And now we can get the temple. Let's get this bad boy built right away. Because the sooner we can start using those abilities, the sooner they will cool down. And hope rises as well. So we can spam evening prayers. It spends some food rations, but that's okay. Gather to discuss and pray, hope will rise. And some of the Londoners abandoned their ways, and now the tendency is neutral. So it's not going to go up, it's not going to go down. We can also use ceremonial service, hope will rise. And we can do a short sermon as well. No, stop complaining. Deal with it. Deal with the longer hours, guys, come on. Alright, we've maxed out range, let's go for power. Because that will also serve as a good backup for the heating requests as well. If you're unable to build the right housing in time, it can be a good backup plan. Yep, and now the number of Londoners is going down because hope is increasing. Yeah, you can save the exiles if you want. I don't usually want a huge city population, but... Alright. So yeah, send a cleric out. Let's keep these people reassured. And of course there's vandalism. Decreasing hope. Yep, and now the people are regaining hope. They're hopeful enough to not join the Londoners group. Alright, scouts, keep rolling, will ya? Good stuff. Alright, that's power level 2. Just gonna dive right into power level 3. Because the temperature is gonna have a bit of a dip for a couple of days before it rises again. So I want to be ready with all the power upgrades that I might need. And the temple changed that guy's heart. I know I sped through that pretty fast. Alright, our generator is maxed out in the power and range department, so we are done here for now. And we've got all our resources that we need, we're looking good there. We're looking pretty good on food, health, and shelter, so we can now start looking at exploration and industry. I would go for the outpost depot once you've established your heating power. And now we've got a heating riot. Yay! Fun! And now I gotta heat either everybody within 24 hours and keep them heated for 2 days, or heat 6 within 2 and keep them heated for 3. Yeah, this is another thing where if you let it go for too long, the quest is gonna get harder to complete. I'm gonna go with this option, because I don't want this to mess me up. Because if the temperature drops, that will cause you to fail the quest. Whereas if you never get to the livable state, you have a little bit more time to establish it. Alright, now that the law book has refreshed, we're going to go for the Faith Keepers. These guys have a couple of abilities that are really useful too, for getting rid of the Londoners and reducing their numbers. Alright, Scout is now at the Dreadnought Landing. We're gonna send him back home with all those resources. Vandalism! No! Be gone with you! Alright. Oh, yay! Beaten cleric. Let's pray for him and his assailants. Alright. And we can check the temperature gauge here, too. Yeah, they're all in livable conditions. However, you'll see here it's going to drop by 2 levels. If we look again at the heat gauge, it goes from comfortable being red to freezing being purple. This number is going to drop by 2, so it's actually going to drop into the cold range. So what we need to do to mitigate this is increase the range to level 3. And as you can see here, that will push us into the comfortable range. However, it's going to drop by 2 levels, so it's going to go to chilly. So just before this temperature drop happens, we're going to increase the steam level to level 2. And that will allow us to mitigate the temperature drop. And I'm going to build a second coal mine because I know we're going to need it. Alright, the outpost depot is complete. There's only a couple spots you can build this. Doesn't really matter which one you pick. And you can also research and upgrade for the outpost teams and their resource transports. The outpost depots can send out a team of guys, team of 10, that go to a location, and they can send resources back to your city. Which is pretty nifty. And now that we've got the Faith Keepers staffed, they're kind of walking through here with the religious symbol. Alright. So that's established. Our outpost teams are faster. Yeah, heating's good. Exploration's good. Resources are good. Food, health, and shelter is looking pretty good. I'm gonna grab the cookhouse installation while we're in there. Hey, united by faith. Nice. Alright, the Londoners' tendency is going down, which is good. Good position here. Hey, the scouts are back. Yeah, let's send them out there. We don't have enough workers to establish an outpost team. So I'm actually going to swap out the workers for engineers in the Faith Keepers. Normally I would not do this, but kind of just happened. Alright. Send them out. Oh. Well, I totally forgot. That was on me. Let's get the temperature up. That's a goof. That's gonna happen, though. It's not gonna be hard to recover from that, especially with all the faith-based abilities that we got here. So I guess that's a good thing to showcase here. Pay attention to your quests if you accept them. Alright, now it's cold enough that we can lose limbs and get amputations. Not cool, but we'll work with it. Okay. And now we can start expanding into resources a little bit, primarily resource storage. Because we don't have a lot of storage space by default. Yeah, we have to wait for the scouts to get there to open up Tesla City. Get the resource depot upgrade. There's a couple things you can use to store more resources. There's this little guy right here, the resource depot, or there's also the large resource depot that can hold much more stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for this last ability to cool down, and then I'm gonna spam them all. Get a massive hope increase. Oh, they failed? Yeah, now the tendency's up. And there's gonna be those kinds of goofs throughout runs. It's not really a huge deal. For the most part, they're easy to recover from. I've only got a few more hours until That is done cooling down. Alright, the scouts have made it to Tesla City. Unfortunately, they died entering the city, but now we have an outpost in that area. The reason why you want to go for Tesla City is they give you steam cores. Very important to have lots of those. And once you've gotten the Faith Keepers, or Order's equivalent, I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head, you have this option with extended shifts to force them to work. And there's no change to discontent or hope at all. Which is cool. Alright, now we've got resource storage. I'm not going to build any of these yet. I'm going to take another look here at the tree. This is another thing you can get, heaters, to heat certain buildings, such as the cookhouse, the infirmary, the Faith Keepers, most other stuff. Alright. Yeah, there's nothing else we really need in the law book at this point. You could go further up and get the Protector of Truth and then the New Faith, but you really don't need that, though. It's not necessary. There's another theft. They pulled more food. They succeeded this time. Repent for your sins, you fools. Alright. Let's spam all of these. And get lots of hope. Starting to run out of coal. Yeah, we need more staff to get more coal reserves, but thankfully now the weather is warming up. So we can turn down the heating power of the generator, because we just don't need it. We can get that coal stockpiled again.
Work shift starts.
Alright. Not bad. We're doing okay. Got the improved heaters, and there's also an upgrade that makes them more efficient. So you basically get a 2-for-1 special. I'll consider their words. And now that we've got houses, they're all livable, even without the generator's increased range. Which is nice.
The shift is ending.
Alright. We are doing pretty good. Yeah, we've got heating power. Pretty much done at this point. Yeah, resources are fine. We can get more scouts, though, and make it so that they move faster, which is useful. That's more a quality of life thing. You don't necessarily need it. Oh, the public penance. There we go. Repent for your sins. And there was a significant rise in hope with the public penance as well as the nighttime procession. Now our tendency is 1 blue arrow down. Food again? Come on. Oh, they failed? Repent for your sins. Give him a chance to repent. Alright. And now, once your tendency gets into the blue range, people that were originally going to flee are deciding to stay. The goal is to get the Londoners' count down to 0 before that 15-day mark.
Time to earn your friend.
So that's what we're currently trying to do. Alright, we've got more scouts. That's a prerequisite for the 2 scout speed upgrades. It's not strictly required to have a second scout squad, you don't really need it. until later. Nah, we're just gonna ignore him. We need our hope to stay high so then we can get the Londoners out of here. Alright, straight to boosted scout sleds. Move even faster.
Time to rest. Works out today.
Ice corridor. Icebound dreadnought. The dreadnoughts are basically these massive ships that carried people into the north where these generator sites are. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Able-bodied survivors. Yeah, just gonna snatch those resources. And that's an outpost to produce steel, if you want it. But you don't really need it if you've got an automaton with advanced steelworks in your city.
Work time. Get back to work.
Alright, now you'll see on the forecast the temperature's gonna drop by 3 levels. That's a lot. So if we look at the heat gauge, it's gonna drop all the way down to very cold. Thankfully, we've got all of these steam upgrades that we need to mitigate it. Now once you have all of that, all the heating, all the exploration, all the resources that you want, like I said, you can go for coal thumpers if that is your preference. Totally your call. And then all of this, everything that you want here, the last thing that you can do, if you want, is to make the factory to make prosthetic limbs for your people. You can also produce more automatons with this. If I failed to mention it, the automatons basically replace an entire team of people. And they work 24/7. However, the generator has to be functional because they have to recharge twice a day, refuel twice a day, whatever the word is. I kind of forget at the moment. Alright, keep the boys going. Factory is now available. Go ahead and build it. Gonna get the prosthetics upgrades for efficiency and speed of creation. The Londoners are down to 2. We've got 4.5 days left to quell them. We're doing pretty well. Yeah, take the wood. There's one Londoner left. Shouldn't be long before we can quell him. Him or her, whoever it is. Now that the temperature has dropped, we're gonna increase the range. But even so, it is cold. So we've got to increase the power considerably. You'll notice that those buildings had a symbol on them with a thermometer. The cookhouse and infirmaries have to be at least chilly in order to function. If they are not, they are disabled. And they will not work. Looking at the chili meter, I can actually tell you guys about this. If the building heat is equal to the negative of the weather, that is chilly. If it is increased by +1, then that is livable, +2 is comfortable. And then, of course, -1 is cold, -2 is very cold, and -3 is freezing. So it goes in both directions. Oh yeah, I already explored this area. Alright, keep going. No, get back to work. There's too much to do, guys. But yeah, that steam sawmill has lasted us for most of the game because of how much wood you have access to in that area. And we're also going to research the upgrades to increase automaton efficiency so then they produce more in the same amount of time. And now we've got a cave hideout to go visit. That area has now opened up. And now the Londoners are at 0. We have quelled them all. And saved the city. Alright. We are united. Once again. Look at that. Nice. And now hope rises considerably. We are in great shape. Oh! We've got some unexpected guests. We've got some refugees inbound. Let's be cautious with these guys. So once you've quelled the Londoners, this is the next event. It's a more minor event, but a bunch of refugees are going to start coming for the city. Alright, now we've got the third wave. Alright, so now the refugees were running from the Great Frost. I like to call it the final cold snap. Alright, now gonna send our boys out. Get our workers in the cookhouse to work the 14-hour days, because we're gonna need lots and lots of food. Oops. Alright, make that other house. Survivors! Bring them in. Let's go. And now, in the workshop, under Exploration and Industry, there's an upgrade. Well, it's not really an upgrade, but you can research the stereoscopic lenses on the beacon. That's going to give us information for the upcoming storm that everybody is deathly afraid of. And for good reason. Don't get me wrong. Alright, we've returned with that group. Just gotta keep moving. Alright, that group has come back. And if you look here on the map and see this clouded area, that's the Great Frost. Or the final cold snap, whatever you want to call it. And so once you've gotten the upgrade for the lenses, you get this quote here. The temperatures are absolutely going to plummet. Hunting will be impossible. If you've chosen to use the hothouses for food production, those will freeze. And so now on the left side of the screen, you'll notice that we've got some new objectives. We need to recall all the scouts and outpost teams, rescue all of the survivors in those 3 areas, the Ice Crevasse, the Deep Hollow, and the Snow Burrows. We've already done those 2. And you'll notice there's a little yellow dot now. That's the Snow Burrows. And then we also have to research a couple things for the generator. We've got Power Upgrade 3 already, but the game is also telling us to get overdrive couplings. So with overdrive, the generator stress goes up, but your heat zone rises by 1 level. With overdrive couplings, that level increases by 2. We've got Camp Vulcan. I'm going to direct the scientists to the city. I would normally escort them, but I need to keep moving. In some of these areas, what's cool is there are some free techs available, which means you don't have to research them. Very nifty. So I'm going to go ahead and recall the outpost team once they send the next transport. There's the next group of scientists. And you'll know it's the resource transport when you see what looks like backpacking. A backpacking symbol or picture on the right side of the screen. So we're going to watch for it. Yep, the generator's ready. with those 2 upgrades. And we're gonna need more medical care as well. Yeah, there's the backpacker. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dismantle the outpost and send the boys home. That group of 10 guys that we sent out earlier. And let's get some more medical care established, because we definitely need it. And we will need it for the storm that is ahead of us. We're in the ice caves. We have found nothing. Let's keep going. Yep, healthcare problem. I'm actually working on that right now. Let's explore the storm watch. And this is technology. There is tech here. And if you hover over your scout, you will see what technology they have picked up. He's picked up additional scouts. This is the 3rd scouting party. And the generator safety bypass. I'll show you guys what that is. So the generator safety bypass increases the stress 25% slower, and it will fall 25% faster. Nifty. Nifty, if you ask me. Alright, let's check on the temperature. Yeah, we're looking good. Good stuff. Alright, so the outpost team has made it back home. So much like the scouts at the beacon, we need to dismantle or disband that team. And I'm gonna dismantle that street because we don't need it anymore. And now that sawmill is no longer operational because there's no wood to get. So we're gonna send that sawmill somewhere else. Yeah, the temperatures are good. For now. Because if you look here, you can see that the time gauge is getting icy. That is when the Great Frost is going to strike. So we need to be prepared before that happens. Now let's double check the tech tree and make sure we don't need anything else. I am gonna grab advanced heaters real quickly. Yeah, let's let him pray. Increase hope a bit. Yeah, this is your last chance to research any text that you might want, so you'll want to double check your tech tree to make sure there's nothing that you're missing that you want. So we're gonna do that real quick. Heating, tech, exploration, we don't need any of that anymore. You don't need the steam coal mine. We skipped it. Yeah? Well, let's grab healthcare installation. That's a nice thing to have.
Finish your labors, people. The work day is up.
Alright. Not doing too bad. Now let's get the engineers out of the factory, because they don't need to be in there at the moment. Yeah, once we get healthcare installation level 2, we'll be good. We won't need anything else after that point.
Brace yourselves. Cold is coming.
And so now, because the storm is coming, people are obviously really scared, and they want emergency wood stockpiles. Thankfully, we've done that for the most part, but we need a little bit more. I'll change the storage from raw food to wood temporarily to provide the last bit of wood that the city needs. That number will depend on the number of citizens you have at the time that quest is triggered. So obviously the more people you have, the more wood you're going to have to supply. Alright, healthcare installation level 2. And then we will be all set for the Great Frost. Yeah, the sawmill, there's nothing left to get there. That sawmill has harvested all that it can. I'm gonna yank this automaton out of steel. We don't need it anymore. Want him to get coal. Stolen rations, of course, the desperate father. Fantastic, right? Yep. Temperature's dropping. This is the last full day before the snap. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to dismantle these workshops and build in... This is optional. And I'm going to build an extra cookhouse so that I can make more of these meals. Whittle down the raw food supply so then the last group of hunters can refill it before the storm makes hunting impossible.
Finish your labors, people. The workday is up.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good on the rations. We're not going to quite hit this number, but like I said, that is okay. Especially if you have enough raw food stockpiled. It'll work. Alright. And we don't need the sawmill anymore, so we're gonna dismantle it. The storm is here. Hunting's impossible, soil in the hothouses are frozen. We're gonna have to make do with stockpiled food. We are now cut off completely from Frostland. It is far too cold and far too dangerous at this point. We just have to survive. Also optional, but if you want to make prosthesis at this point, you can. I'm gonna just for the heck of it, even though it's not, even though I don't really need to. It's fine. I love how it sounds like thunder. I just love this. This last music. Oh yeah, and if you're somebody that likes the coal mines, you're gonna have a coal mine collapse. Because it is so cold. Let's get the engineers out of there, dismantle the last workshop. You don't really have to do that, but... Cold. Temperature is dropping. Let's go to steam level 4 and turn on the heaters. We are gonna need it, friends. So yeah, if you were using the coal mines, now the mines are freezing. You can send volunteers in there. They're gonna die. Or you can abandon the lower levels, but this will cut your coal production by 80%. I'm going to abandon the lower levels because I've got quite a stockpile up there. And the automatons are going to be continuously producing more. So we will actually be okay. And now, because of the coal mine production falling so low, they think we're gonna freeze. We'll be fine! We'll make it anyway. We've got a massive stockpile. What are you guys worried about? Alright, we've got more than enough food at this point to survive the storm. So I'm going to get rid of that extra cookhouse, and I'm going to make 2 infirmaries in its place because we're going to need a lot of medical care. Oh, the coal theft. Who steals 1,145 units of coal? That's about 10% of the supply. Who just gets away with that? That's a lot of coal to be running away with. And the care house is too cold, so people can't inhabit it either. That's another building that has to be chilly in order to work. Yeah, let's make a few more. It's just the music and the icy sides here. This is just great. I love the aesthetic of this. Alright, how exactly these guys can survive in temperatures that are about time and a half colder than the coldest temperature recorded in Antarctica is beyond me, but how can this thing produce enough heat to withstand that kind of temperature? I don't know, but it's interesting. No! Wait, shoot. I let them stay home by accident. Well, let's just dismantle it and rebuild it. There. Easy fix. Alright, let's maybe make 10 more of these and then evacuate the engineers from there. The booms. Love it. And now the temperature's gonna drop even more. Like it could get any colder than this, right? Now what? Oh, panic. Make you guys work. We need more stuff. Want to have enough stuff on hand. Alright, yeah, we got plenty of food. We'll be fine. And our coal stockpile is looking pretty good too, because of the continuous production of the automatons. We're having no trouble at all keeping up with the intense demand. Not any trouble at all. Look at all the sick people. Ooh, look at that temperature. Jeez, negative 238. That's about twice as cold as the coldest known temperature in Antarctica, which is roughly negative 120 Fahrenheit. And because of that, we now need to put the generator into overdrive just to keep the infirmaries functioning. Oh yeah, and we can also look at this. Look at the gauge. Negative, weather. There isn't even a number there. Nothing. But I did the math once, and with all the numbers put together for the infirmary, with 6, 3, and 1 being 10, and then 1 and 2 being 13, we have a negative 13 level weather state here. Even though the game does not explicitly state that number. And the storm is over. We have survived the final cold snap. Look at that, guys. Your people are now hopeful. Once again. Alright. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little early game guide and general walkthrough of A New Home. I am considering doing this for the other scenarios as well. Thought to start with A New Home because it's the first scenario that is typically played. And then afterwards, there's this little epilogue that you can play and watch. And you can also watch your city as you built it from the ground up in this little cinematic too. Yeah, you started with 80 people. 65 adults and 15 children. And these in-game quotes actually reflect some of your in-game actions. Refusing to give up on anyone, as far as the healthcare side of things, because that's what I did. I chose sustain life. And then now we're in the faith. Masses of sick. Yeah, we can't really take all the refugees. And I really do think this is spoken in the perspective of the captain of the city. Because it uses I statements in it. Yeah, and then at the end of the game, it tells you how many people that you survived with. In this case, 387. The most amount of people you can have is 693, by the way. Alright. Well, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you in the next video.